Let's go. All right, Cory Clark, welcome to I guess we call it a podcast, the X
Sweet,
Factor
I'm
podcast.
Stoked to be on the X Factor podcast.
Dude, excited to have you here as our X
Yeah.
Factor. So let me introduce you. Cory Clark, I came across you first and honestly wish I would have jumped in more originally. It was like a year and a half ago. I talked right before this.
I wonder how many people would say that.
I would guess a lot.
I think there's
especially
some.
in Utah.
Yeah, for sure.
Especially in
Anyway,
Utah.
sorry, keep going.
No, I had a good mission buddy that I had, he had posted some stuff and whatever, and had seen some things, and I was like, man, this is cool, like really cool stuff. And then since then, McKay here at Lease End, he's been a part of is it the Collective? Is that what it's called?
Yep.
Okay. Yep. Talk us through just a little bit real quick before we jump in. Like, what is it that the Collective is and what you do so that these guys understand, where you're coming from?
Well, I've been in my business now for about 5 years, a little over 5 years. And so I'm a licensed mental health therapist, and I worked in sales all through undergrad, through grad school, essentially put these, and in pursuit of becoming a therapist, sales was what paid for all that for school, and stayed in sales because I was good at it and made money, but ultimately just like wanted to become a therapist, and so that's what I pursued. And then it wasn't really until becoming a therapist I was like, this is what the sales world needs. Like so many. Sales is interesting, man. It targets parts of you that a lot of jobs just won't. I think it targets your biggest insecurities, fears, parts of you that just like. And so that was seeing guys kind of struggle in certain ways, and thinking, man, like this is the same change I'm doing with clients in the therapy room. I'm like, this is really what I think, guys. I think this is how we tap into this level of performance. So, put these two worlds together, ran with it, did. Kind of one-on-one sessions, essentially, like just therapy for sales guys for a long time.
Yeah.
And then I was at a point where in 2023, I had 500 something clients, and it was just me and just my clients. It was just me and my business.
Yeah.
And I just was like, I have all these clients, and not one of my clients knows each other. And I was just like, dude, they're all going through the same thing, similar struggles, similar dreams, similar vision. And none of them know each other, which as a therapist, that's normal. Like you don't go see a therapist and know all their clients.
Yeah.
Like that's not a thing.
Yeah.
But in my case, I was like, dude, I think I could connect some of these guys together, and that would be really valuable.
Especially in the sales culture. Because we love to be around each other.
It's so like, and sometimes it's inauthentic.
Yes.
Like I wanted to connect them in a real way of like, let's just be real with each other. I'm a very big proponent of that. And so we rebranded. I rebranded in 2024.
Okay.
To the Collective. So it was just the sales therapist, and then we rebranded to the Collective. And the sales therapist is still my Instagram brand, but the Collective is a mental performance community and resource for sales professionals. So we run, part of what it does is mastermind groups. So we run a 50-man group, and it's dope. Yeah, we do retreats and weekly calls and one-on-one sessions, but it's just connection focused.
I wish I would have had this when I started in sales, because I was 19 years old, went to my first couple semesters of college, came back, got recruited to go do door to door. I found myself out in Wyoming and Nebraska selling for the big orange company. And I'm out there selling freaking security systems to cowboys and oil field workers. But I'd been told my whole life, it's like, hey, Trevor, you're an extrovert. You should be good at sales. Like, you're outgoing. You know how to talk to people. Like, you should be really good at this. And I remember, like, literally in my first area in Grand Island, Nebraska, getting dropped off in my neighborhood, and the thought going through my head was like, please don't answer the door, because if you answer, then I have to come up with something to say, and I don't want to get rejected.
Yeah.
And it was like something that I've been told for so long that I should be good at.
Yeah.
I quickly learned that it's like, well, sales is actually very different in a lot of ways, and it's like just being able to talk to somebody isn't it? Like, it's so much between our ears. Yeah. And that was a grind for that first few months out, like knocking doors and learning sales, until I could figure out some of that like mental side to figure out, hey, it's not about just grinding. It's about figuring out between your two ears so that you can go and be productive.
And actually that concept right there, like the first interaction with customers is often one of like the hardest parts for sales professionals, just because it's like, I mean, where else in life do you, and this could be phone sales, car sales. I mean, this could be, but really where you're doing the prospecting, so door to door or cold calling, those would be the two most common scenarios, or business to business sales. But where else in life do you go meet 100 new people a day? 100 brand new people. You build 100 brand new relationships in one day. And in the first 30 seconds of all those relationships, your presence is essentially not wanted.
Yeah.
Where else do you even experience that?
No.
We don't. So it's not normal for a human
Yeah.
to even experience that emotionally
Yeah.
in life. Because if you're at a grocery store and you chat up with a stranger, it's going to be somewhat chill,
Yeah.
somewhat cordial, right? But on the doors or on the phone or, you know, when you call someone, it's like you can instantly get the vibe.
It's like you just
They don't
interrupted
want me here.
Yeah.
And that is weird. That's a shock to the system.
Yeah.
Because it goes against actually what, and this is like, yeah, it goes against what's normal in relationships and what our society tells us is actually what is relationships. So our bodies are working off 20 plus years of data on relationships and what they're supposed to look like. Then you go in a sales position and it's like, bro, I don't like feeling this.
Like my manager's
Like
telling me
what's going on? What's because your
be in
body's
front
like,
of 'em, yeah.
and then your body's like you're saying, your thought when you were knocking doors was like, I hope they don't answer. That's really your body going, I don't like feeling unwanted.
Yeah.
Because this isn't cool. Because
Yeah.
if that happened in real life, peace out, relationship. I ain't
Yeah.
gonna spend time with you.
Yeah.
Like the kids that, if someone was experiencing that, they're heavily bullied, is what that is.
Yeah.
Like how often we don't want, or they're like trying to get girls and they're never getting a yes.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But like that type of rejection is not normal.
So like take a rep
Yeah.
out here on the phones, right? We've got a 50-man
Sure.
outbound call center right now
Yeah.
that McKay runs. What's the advice we give to them of saying,
Yeah.
hey, like you're going to deal with a lot of rejection. Like that's one aspect. That's a very big aspect to this position. But what can they do that they can control to try and help get through that rejection so that it doesn't impact them like it did for me initially?
Yeah. It's part of it is perception, right? So how I view something has an impact on how I feel. So subconsciously, if you're going to go dial the phone and go call someone, what's the hope?
They're going to say yes.
Yeah, and we're hoping that like, yeah, they're going to say yes, and we're also hoping kind of like that they're kind of nice.
Yeah, that they're nice, that they want to talk to us, that they like will accept
we're like,
us.
I hope this person's kind of nice and willing to listen.
Yeah.
But what's the reality? It's they're closed off.
Yeah.
Now, is that person behind the phone mean? No. They're not mean. They're reacting like a normal human being. And so part of it as a sales professional is understanding the situation I'm in is that relationally, the context is different than normal life, and I have to see it for what it is right here. And in sales, for some reason, because of the culture that's been created, we in America, in life, we go and it's ethical to go earn business.
Yeah.
And we pursue people to earn business, and that's sales. And what's been created is people have some resistance towards that, and so why would I expect a human to respond in a different way than a human?
Yeah.
So if I'm cold calling, selling this product, how would I expect a human to react?
Exactly the way they're probably going to be a little bit shut off at first.
Yeah. And am I okay with that?
100%.
100%. I have to be.
Yeah.
And the truth is, I am. I'm cool with that because I would do the same thing. And so now the mindset shifts into, instead of the first minute of the sales process, I actually don't even view it as a relationship because it's not safe. Like I can't go into a phone call going, I hope this person's nice, willing to listen, because if that's my expectation, dude,
ruined.
I'm walking into disappointment.
Yeah.
My body's gonna be like, disappointed, disappointed.
Yeah.
For my 200 calls that day? That's crazy.
Yeah.
So I'd rather tell myself, so this would be one thing, literally before you dial the phone and you call that person, if this is something you struggle with, you can tell yourself, I'm expecting this person behind the phone to be closed off, and I'm totally cool with it.
Yeah.
I'm totally cool with it. Because then when they pick up and they're like, oh, you're like, bro, I was already expecting you to say that. I'm cool with that.
Yeah.
And you're working on getting them from a closed mind to an open mind. And so when I say that the first 30 seconds isn't about, it's not a relationship, because it's not safe. They're not real with you yet.
Yeah.
I can't care, right? So what I view it as is a game. And the game is, it's very simple. I pick up the phone. They're going to be closed off. And the game is, if I can get them from a closed mind to an open mind. If I can win that game, I now get to engage in more relationships.
That's awesome.
And then the more relationships I have, the more deals I'll get. Right?
Yeah.
And so you're like almost detaching
That first
30 seconds, first minute.
like gamify it. I love that. Because as you're talking
and
there,
emotionally, just because your bodies want to connect.
Yeah.
Because that's normal, but it's like, no, this is different. And then once you open them up, it's like, okay, now it's safe to care more.
Well, that's awesome, man. I appreciate you sharing that. And so that everybody understands, like, the talk today is not going to 100% be about just sales. This is like, but I think anything that was just said, even there, nuggets of that can be taken and applied to anything that we do, right? Like I, as you were talking, I was sitting there thinking of our marketing team, and it's like, they may not be the ones that are picking up the phone to give a call, but they're putting ideas out there. They're putting literally like their creativity. They're putting their effort into things, putting it out there for everybody to say, yes, that looks good, or nope, go back to the drawing board. And I'm sure that doesn't feel good all the time, right? Like we're putting stuff out there, and that rejection can start to build up. And I love that, kind of like disassociate yourself from that outcome.
Yeah.
As you were talking, my wife, I remember a conversation with my wife. It was a point in my sales career where it was kind of one of those like downs. And she like sat down and she's like, Trevor, you need to stop like letting your like your good day or your bad day depend on whether or not you sold good today or you didn't sell good.
Sure.
Like you need to find a way that it's like, even if you don't sell good today, or even if your performance wasn't where you wanted it at and things you can't control, like find that internal confidence to like still have a great day, still be a light to people, like still have a,
That's a good comment from your wife.
She's
a good woman.
She's great. She's great. Do you deal with that often with the people you work with?
Sure.
And what kind of like talk us through that? What are you? What kind of
It's
advice?
A beautiful question.
Yeah. What kind of advice?
Yeah, and honestly, like sales or not, marketing, work in finance, whatever it is, this is applicable to life for sure. And so, really, what I'd say is, we're what you're almost talking about is like where do I put my worth and my value, right? Because sometimes it's really easy to go put it in the result, or here I am on this creativity on the marketing side, and I put all my worth and my value in this thing. So therefore, like, it feels so heavy getting feedback, and now it's like, oh, do I feel insecure? I feel inadequate. I feel worthless. And it's like, whoa, like, that's not true. You're not worthless, right? And so in sales, it can be easy to, if I'm selling well, I'm feeling good about me. If I'm not, I'm feeling kind of low about myself, right? Yep. And the goal is to feel where am I placing my worth and my value? Am I placing it in things or accomplishments, or, and where's the healthy place to put it? And what I've really found is the healthiest place to put worth is in who I am, my values. And I've kind of found, as I've worked with, thousands of professionals at this point, is a lot of people don't actually know what their core values are as a person.
Really?
Yes. Like really identified, like, oh, this is who I am. Like, this is what I value. And I think there's, if you ask anybody, like, oh yeah, I really like, being honest, or I like connection. And it's like, but like, no, do you really know like who you are and the values that you need to live every day? Because I've kind of found that like a lot of people actually live out of alignment to their core values of who they are. Like, for example, if I value growth, which I do. Yeah. That's one of my core values to who I am. Like, I value growth. I hate it and I love it. Yeah. I hate it because growth sucks sometimes, right? But I can't deny at my core that growth is a part of Cory. And I value it. It is like who I am. So when it gets tough and it's hard, and let's say I don't want to like lean into that discomfort, do I value growth or do I not? Am I going to live in alignment to who I am, or am I not? Right? And so, result or not, deal or not, that moment where I choose to live in alignment to who I am, and I know it's like I'm really proud of that. Yeah. Right? Because I know that, like, no, I value growth, therefore I'm going to live in alignment to that. And so maybe the marketer and the one in marketing, maybe they value creativity. And it's like, dude, in order to create this project, I've had to be so creative, and I lived in alignment to that value. So result or not, like, I'm living in alignment to who I am. Does that make sense?
Yeah, totally. Dude, I'm going to reframe something that I train reps on, which is about your alignment with your core values. I talk about motivators, but the core values is way more impactful. I'm like, that is so spot on that it's like, because, so many people, like, they'll set big goals, or they'll do certain actions, and it's usually because they're seeing the person next to them maybe doing that, and they don't want to feel left out, and they're like, no, like, he set a big goal, so I'm going to set a big goal. Yep. I think of in sales meetings, anybody who's been in a summer sales setting, you laugh because there's always the one guy in the room when we're shouting out goals in the morning that gives some absurd goal, and everyone's just stoked about it, and you're like, dude, come back to reality for a minute. Like, he's not going to go put forth the work to do it, but like, he's got this big goal that he throws out, and everybody gets hyped. It's like, well, no, like let's get into alignment on what your core values are. How do you help somebody find those core values? What?
Yeah. So so there's actually a whole therapy model called values-based living.
Okay.
Which the concept is understanding your core values and living in alignment to them. Right. And honestly, dude, if you had like your employees, right, you had them all identify the core values, and if they took a true assessment of who they are and are they living in alignment, they could easily find 3 or 4 things that they're doing that's actually out of alignment to who they are. It's crazy.
And you cut those things out.
Yeah, that's part of it's like, well, it sucks to now live in alignment, but are you going to be who you are or are you not?
Yeah.
And what if you live in alignment to who you are, although there's pain sometimes with that, there's beauty, there's that beauty that you're looking for. There's that, that really that good, or that now you can really tap into your potential. So one way that I do it, and I have and maybe I'll send you some worksheets that I've given so you can give it to people and stuff like that. But essentially it's, I have them answer a bunch of questions that help just kind of explore, like for example, can we do one real quick?
Yeah, go for it.
What are you most when do you feel most just joy and fulfilled? Like, what are some moments where you're just like, wow, I feel joy and fulfilled?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So funny enough, talking about the person that I know that knows you, Braxton Vandertoon, I remember this in the mission, talking about, hey, what do I want to go do after the mission? I'd always struggle about, I don't know what job I want to get into. I don't know what, school path I want to take or whatever. And I came to the conclusion that when I feel like the most joy is when I'm creating something.
Cool.
I love creation. That. I love that process of creation.
Oh, that pumps me up, actually. I don't hear that a lot because I'm the same way.
Yeah.
Love that. So creativity.
Yeah.
What about creation?
And it's not even because it's like not creativity like artwork and I don't have that skill,
Sure.
But like building. So I've done sales teams my whole career, but building sales teams, building sales processes, like building like the sales pitch, figuring out how to create something out of nothing that's there. I think that's why I loved sales, because it's knock a door and figure out how to create a relationship, create this stuff.
Love that.
That process of creation I love.
Yeah, and so maybe it is creativity. You're just associating that with art, but you are creative.
Yeah.
You are creative. You enjoy that hustle, that startup businessy, which just makes sense.
Yeah.
Being here probably is way in alignment.
Yeah.
Working here is probably super in alignment to that value.
Very much so.
Right. And maybe there's a leadership aspect that's attached to it.
100%. Leadership is something I love leading. I love,
But that would be, the creativity is interesting there. And that's now you can take that, and I would say that's one of your core values. So the cool thing now is, okay, now I know I'm creative. So if you're ever thinking job, or if you're ever thinking long term, that type of stuff, creativity should never not be there.
Yeah.
That is who you are.
Yeah.
So if a job where you're not able to be creative, you'd probably be pretty dissatisfied.
Yeah, plug and play. I would hate life.
I would hate it, right? I'm the same way. That's not me. Yeah. I will create the rest of my life.
Yes.
I will.
Yes.
I love being innovative, and creativity literally is one of my core values. I have that.
That's cool.
Yeah. And so I feel you on that. So that would be kind of the process, right? Is through questioning, they can kind of explore these answers, and then with those answers, you can kind of pull what that core value is out. And then I have just a whole list of values that people can kind of, and then you can get really specific. So one of mine is depth, because a lot of people say I value family.
Yeah.
Which is true, but what is it? Right? And for me, of course I value family, but it's really what I value, dude, is depth. And what I mean by that is real deep relationships. I hate surface level relationships. I don't love them. And in fact, I don't spend time with them, especially now that I've identified that. I just don't. I don't waste my time with it. That's why McKay, who, there's been a deep friendship.
Yeah.
And so he will be one of my friends for life, dude.
Yeah.
But it's because there's depth. And that to me I feel alive when the relationship is real. I don't like inauthentic relationships. But what that requires too is I got to show up and be real in order to get that.
Dude, so I just, my coach, I have a business coach, and he just we're working through it right now, and it's just different words to all this.
Yeah,
I love this.
Yeah.
The book is called Unique Ability.
Okay.
And it's understanding hey, what are your unique abilities? What are the things that you do that you kind of get lost in the time doing it, right? Time stops.
That's cool.
You enjoy it. You love it. You don't stress about it. It lights you up. And one of the ways to find your unique ability is to ask the people around you.
That's
Like,
cool.
hey, what do you see in me when I'm most lit up? Like, what am I doing when you like you see the best in me, whether it be your wife, your parents, a close coworker, whatever. That's an interesting, you get a true, honest answer from them of, hey, Trevor, when you're doing X, Y, or Z, like you're lit up, man. You're energized, cool. You're excited. You move with vigor, because sometimes we don't always see it in ourselves, right? Like, yeah. I don't know. I would challenge anybody.
No,
who's watching.
I love that. Ask that person closest to you to do that. I think that's great. I'm going to do it too. I've never done that.
Yeah. The book challenged us to do it to 10 people. Send it out to 10 people. And it's just, hey, what do you like when you see me most lit up and energized? What am I doing? Like, what do you see in me, and where do you see the value coming from? And it's fascinating. I would challenge anybody who's watching this. We'll get those worksheets, and I'm going to send them out.
Yeah,
like,
do it. Yeah,
they do that, and I would challenge you even send it out and find those core values.
Yeah, I'd say 5 to 10. I have 7. Well, actually, I have 8. I just added one. It was fun. I added fun in there.
Oh, good.
But yeah, 8. 5 to 10. I wouldn't go any more than 10, because then it can kind of just feel messy. But get really specific, and yeah, I have 8. So core values to myself. So
okay.
Yeah.
Well, as I was talking to McKay, one of the things he talked about was authenticity with you. And I feel like this is what you're talking about, of like living in alignment. Am I missing the mark, or is that in line with what? Yeah, authentic. Like when you're in alignment, you are authentically yourself.
Yes. Yeah. That's a huge part of authenticity for me. Like if I am part of authenticity too is just like taking off the mask and being real. So for me, when I think authenticity is like, so many people feel, they have thoughts, they have emotions, so many people don't share really what's actually going on, and I think there's this beauty in like, all right, let me take my mask off and just like be real and allow myself to be seen. And that's kind of what I've done with the collective, right? Is like, it's crazy because until you experience it, right? It's just, but it is the most real environment you'll ever see 50 guys be in ever. And then it becomes a very, very tight-knit group to where these guys would literally do anything for each other. But it's because everyone gets super real. And it's not victim-y.
Yeah.
It's just vulnerable and it's real. And then there's just an immense amount of love. And so there's this beauty of like, how can they know me, if I never show me, right? And if I never show myself, how can they like truly love me too? Right? Some people like, it's like, how can they love me if they don't know me? If they don't know me, they don't, I'm not showing me, right? And so I think at the core is when you really show yourself, that's when you really feel a true, genuine love between two people.
That's cool, man.
Yeah. So I love helping men do that.
That's good.
Yeah.
Every time you talk about it, you light up. It's
yeah. Oh, dude. Yes. That's, I wasn't expecting, yes, that would be one. Like I resonate with that. I love helping guys get real and be authentic. Yeah.
That's cool. That's awesome, man. Okay, I want to shift gears just a little bit. Let's talk about belief systems. Okay. Dude, if you don't know the employees at Lease End, know a few, but you don't know them. But let's take the employees here. What would be one belief that you would plant in every one of their minds if you could? Just that one belief system that you're like, dude, this is the belief that if you could have this, a lot changes.
Yeah. I'd probably say, like, how do I want to word this? There's so much of life is, there's so much purpose in the unknown. I think so many people fear the unknown, right? There's this like, the unknown becomes this thing of like, oh my gosh, when am I going to get here? Or, what does 6 months look like? Or how am I going to pay that thing or this or that? Or there's just so much will I get my deals this month? Will I hit my quota? Or will this project go through? Or will they like this? It's like unknown, this fear of the unknown. And a lot of people live in the fear of the unknown, where in reality, like the unknown is like so beautiful. Like without the unknown, there is no growth. There is no joy.
Yeah.
Like if you knew everything and just had to if you knew all today, and then you just woke up and lived the day, but you knew everything was going to happen, it would rob you of excitement and joy. And so I think learning how to embrace the unknown and just like be okay with it and know that like the unknown's my friend, and I love living in it. I've just found like and good things come and good opportunities come. I don't need to be scared of it. I just need to go embrace it and do my part.
That is spot on.
It's
There's a
fun,
few
yeah.
unknowns here, at least.
Yeah.
You know, that we're growing at a crazy fast rate. I
Sure.
mean, and so for a lot of people, it's like, dude, I don't know. In 6 months from now, I don't know what this is going to look like. Like there's a lot of these unknowns, and it's like, dude, but it keeps getting better and better and better. And like,
yeah, and we can sit here feeling fear of it,
no, yeah,
or it's like maybe it's so good we don't know,
let's just keep going.
and let's just embrace it and live in alignment to who we are.
Yes.
And trust that if I do X, Y, and Z, like good things will come. So that's like, I love living, like embracing the unknown.
Embrace the unknown.
Because I've also, I mean, obviously, I still dip into the fear of it, like,
Yeah.
you know, because it's scary sometimes,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But having that mindset to embrace it is huge. So that's one belief.
I like that. I like
Yeah.
that a lot. Okay. Embrace the unknown. And
Yeah.
we'll encourage everybody to do it.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. Now, before we started this podcast, we talked about dreams, and you're like, dude, I love to dream.
I am a
love
dreamer.
to dream
Yeah.
big.
Yeah.
So talk us through that just a little bit. What makes you a dreamer?
Yeah. Yeah. That's a good question. What makes me a dreamer? I think my first initial thought is my dad was an entrepreneur.
Okay.
So I think naturally, I grew up feeling like, I don't know, I could believe in myself, I guess, a little bit because I saw him do that.
Yeah.
And so once I started my career and started moving that in that direction, I just felt like, and especially becoming a therapist, I really just value like believing in myself and seeing others believe in themselves. And so I think when someone believes in themselves and they see their potential, like how it's hard not to dream.
Yeah.
And also I think with that, a lot of people dream, but they never actually move forward in it, or there's so many fears and limiting beliefs that hold them back from it. And so I think what's helped me be a dreamer is I feel like I'm really good at believing in myself and breaking through limiting beliefs. Because every limiting belief you break through, you start seeing yourself for what you truly are.
Yeah.
And then you obviously, dream a little more, or you're pushing towards them a little bit more. So,
dude, just in our conversations, short conversations, and as you talk through these principles and stuff, it's so clear that like you believe everybody around you has a lot of potential.
yeah.
And that's as you're just saying that right there. It's like, man, it is so fun to dream, but like it stems from that belief system of we're supposed to go do something special. Like we're here on earth to do something special. I don't care religious background. It's just you're here to do something special. You've got a unique skill set.
You can feel it, that energy.
Yeah, man.
True.
It's like and I think so much of Lease End was built off of that.
Yeah.
Like we're doing something that's never been done before. It's disrupting an entire industry, and the people it's attracted as employees are the people who like want to be a part of that, to like go dream bigger and do something bigger that's never.
Yeah, and dreaming, and like not everybody has to like own their own business or do their own thing, and that's where it's like, no, not at all. And I've learned that more and more through just building my business. I'm like, oh, there's like so many ways to dream in a business and be a part of something like that. But yeah, it's interesting. I think it's just as important as dreaming is. It's which I don't think people talk about enough. They do talk about dreaming. People talk about, what I want to do and this and that. Like people do talk about that.
Yeah.
I want this house or this, you know. But what they don't talk about enough is, what are the limiting beliefs holding me back?
Yeah.
Like, what's the part of me that's kind of in the way?
Yeah.
Of being able to actually go and make that happen. And that is fun.
Well, I would say also to align it with your core values, like you were talking earlier.
Mm-hmm.
Like I can say I want the big house. I can say I want the nice car. I can say all these things that are dreaming. Like that's, but like, is it actually in alignment with my core values of like why I want that? Like, I think of, house size, for instance. I remember I met this gentleman one time, and he's like, dude, I've splurged on two things in my life: really big house and a really big vacation house. You won't see me driving nice cars or anything. He's like, because what's important to me is an incredible setting for my family.
Yeah.
and for them to bring their friends over, the setting of a family.
That was in alignment. Yeah.
It was in alignment with what they had. And so it made those dreams more like, hey, I can dream for it, but I can also go put the work in because it's in alignment with who I am.
Yeah. That's cool. And I think there's like materialistic things, but then there's even just like maybe there's employees at least in that like, oh man, it'd be really cool to be in a position like that, you know, or to add value on the marketing side like that, you know, but that's not me.
Yeah.
It's like, well, who's to say? You're like, oh, that's just me. That's just not me. That's not my thing. You know, like I would really like that, but it's not me. It's like, dude, the second you have that thought of like, oh, it's not me, it's like, that's a limiting belief.
Yeah.
Like, who's to say, right? And so I think there's a lot of value in choosing to process those limiting beliefs and look at them.
Yeah.
And assess like, okay, what actually do I want? And, you know, look at those and put some energy towards breaking them. Yeah.
Okay. I love that, man. Yeah. The last thing I want to talk about, and then we'll wrap this thing up, is from a leadership perspective. With Lease End growing so fast, we have amazing leaders, and some leaders who are like newer to leadership. Like this is their first time leading a team. And for a lot of us, it's teams that like they're bigger than what we've led before, and they'll continue to get bigger as we grow. Taking what we've talked about today, what kind of advice do you give to a leader of how to help their team, their people, you know, with the mental mindset side of things?
Yeah.
Because we're not licensed therapists and we're not going to be, right? But like from leadership within the realm of work, like, what advice do you give?
So there'd be a lot there, but I'll give some, just one or two, I think, points that are really important. One, at the core, it always helps me to remember, like at the core, like people just want to feel like seen and cared about and loved. Like at the core, we want that as humans.
Yeah.
And so keeping that forefront of mind is people really do love feeling valued and seen. And so you can apply that however you want to apply that, but remembering that doesn't mean we have to play people pleaser as a leader, obviously.
Yeah.
But I think it is valuable to be kind and loving and, you know, point out the things that we see and tell them that we appreciate them. Like, hey man, I haven't told you this yet, but I really value you a part of this team. Like, I'm so stoked you're here. Like just that comment and just pausing them and looking at them like, dude, I'm so glad you're here.
Yeah.
Like they could be like, I feel loved by my leader. And so that would be a great thing all leaders do, right? Is remembering that that's what the core, if that core needs taken care of, there's a lot that falls into place. People work harder, people care more, they are more bought in, right? And then the second thing, I'd say when there's a lot of new growth and a lot of new leadership, there's probably mistakes being made too.
Yeah, 100%.
And so
every day.
I think the misconception sometimes for leaders is, oh my gosh, like I can't mess up. I can't like look like an idiot with my guys. They got to depend on me, that type of stuff. And in reality, like you can also be vulnerable as a leader. I think an example could be like, if I was to verbalize it, it would be like, hey guys, we're going in this new growth phase. This next month's a big month. Part of me honestly feels a little bit nervous as a leader and being able to get the team there. But I want you guys to know that like I'm going to show up every day and work my hardest. And I'm grateful to do it with you guys. Like that is like beautiful, right? Because then it creates grace for the leader of like reps now looking at him of like, oh, like he's imperfect. Like he's a little nervous, but also he's going to work super hard. And that's a guy I'm going to go to bat for.
Yeah.
So it's like, instead of like, all right, guys, let's go do the month. But in reality, like I'm feeling a little insecure. Like, can I as a leader process that and be real and get people buy-in? I think so.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
100%.
But most leaders just never show that because they feel like if I do, it's weak. And it's like, well, just learn how to communicate. It's actually really empowering.
It's very empowering.
So
those two things.
Those two things would be huge, yeah.
People want to be seen. People want to feel like they're heard or recognized. And then as a leader, like don't be afraid to
be real.
Be authentic.
Just pair it with ownership.
Yes.
So don't just be like, oh my gosh, guys, I'm so insecure.
No.
Right?
No.
Be like, dude, part of me feels nervous, but guys, I'm going to work hard.
Yeah.
Like pair it with ownership. If you pair it with ownership, it'll look beautiful.
I love that buy-in that you get from the team with that, because
Yeah,
that's the only
dude.
way. It's
Well, then it's connection, and it's like, dude, that's my dog right there. I'm going to go bat for him, you know?
that's why I feel like Lease End has grown the way it has, is not because of the individuals in a leadership role, but it's because of the people around them that are fully bought in. It's special. Like you get that bought in feeling. So much more can happen with it. So, Cory, I appreciate you taking the time.
Dude,
to come
thanks
here,
for having me on.
This
was
is
really
awesome.
fun.
You're awesome, and
Thanks,
we'll get that stuff out. The document, the questionnaire, and whatever. Encourage you, whether you're in sales or not, to follow you. Where can they find you?
Instagram, the sales therapist. They can just follow, and that's where I post and create most of my content. So
fantastic. And any of the sales dudes that want to look at what you're doing, they can find all of that there.
Yeah, all that there. Yeah.
Okay. Fantastic. Thanks, bro.